Ooh, all right. It's lore time. Firefox, get in here. Stupid web browser. Stupid OBS not displaying the web browser. It's somebody's fault. All right, so what did we do last time? Last time we made a 4th demigod. Each of these windows of text is a demigod. And today... Ooh, yeah, okay, here's the note I left for myself last time. Today I think I want to think a tiny bit about the backstory, but I think we're going to start designing Region 0. And we'll get paint out, like draw, I don't know, some basic info. Like we have a map of everything and how each region kind of interconnects, and then kind of like Pokemon. That's not how you spell Pokemon. We'll kind of have like large areas in between spots where there isn't anything, and maybe we'll kind of, unlike Pokemon. Oh my god, I just want to look at the picture. Just want to look at the map picture. Great. Unlike Pokemon, they don't really comment about what's in these areas, but I would like to at least kind of have some geographical features. Maybe like DLC would be being able to go to some cool mountain that people talk about being in here or something. I don't know. Hey, Cosmo. You missed the coding stream yesterday, dude. Today's non-coding. I hope it's not boring for you. Okay, so I said we're going to design Region 0, but honestly, it's kind of going to be like Region 0 and Region 1 together-ish. We'll mostly start with Region 0 and then potentially bleed into Region 1, because I want these two spots to be like beginner player friendly. And then after you leave the first two areas, then the wheels start to come off. You start to you're expected to manage things on your own. You've got your first programming book and you feel like you're doing progress. Cool. As in a book about programming? Never thought about just reading an actual like textbook about programming. With the internet existing now, it's so much nicer to be able to have like I don't know, like it feels more interactive to be able to like watch a video, get an assignment from the video, something like that. Ooh, about writing clean code. Okay, that's a cool idea. I could probably use some info on that. Ah, shoot. I forgot my compression sleeve. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. The name of the book is also Clean Code. Yeah, that's a good name. It's like it's catchy, and it also explains exactly what hopefully it will teach you if you read it. It was made by Robert Cecil Martin, also known as Uncle Bob. That's cute. Hey, Small Brain. All right, so I kind of want to, let's see, I want to grab all the elements. Ooh. And then I want to have like a demigod of every element. And then the 4 we've already created will be like major parts of the story. So Let's see if I remember them. Okay, so our first demigod was wind and nature, and their name is Tian. Our next god was fire and earth, and their name is Kree. We had water and corrosion, and that was Kai. Okay, and then we had ice and electric. Okay, so we cover all the major elements. Right. And then I forgot that these are the weird elements. And I don't know if we want a demigod to cover them. I think the idea was going to be that these come from outside. They come from weird forces, not necessarily forces that would be worshipped by people. All right, fine with me then. Cool. So then if I ever, what I was worried about is if I go to make the origin story, I was like, well, what happens if like in the story I need someone that represents an element to do something, but we have all of the like primary elements represented, so we're good. I think I need to think a little bit more about the backstory. I think maybe I'll make some quick notes about it. And then we'll move on to designing Region 0. Am I going to map out the layout of each area more? Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to be doing, at least a little bit today. Maybe not... Like, I'm not going to set everything in stone, but I'm going to start thinking of, like, where do we put the dungeon? Certain houses, like if I decide that there's a character that's going to be involved in the story, like, and they're like a blacksmith, we'll kind of decide maybe like where their house might be in the town or in the school grounds, the university that's being rebuilt, stuff like that for sure. But it won't be like set in stone. It'll just be like general ideas so that I can start piecing together like quest lines. Puzzles. So I think first we're going to start with like, what is the map going to look like? What kind of puzzles are we going to have? Where's the player going to get the tools to solve those puzzles? I need to choose like a starting tool. I feel like the player needs to be given a tool to start with. Ooh, Cosmo, you're learning HTML. Cool. How does my game look? Not like much. It still just looks like Pokemon. And it will look like Pokemon for quite a while until we get to doing the art streams. And that's gonna be a bit. I gotta get like the, let's see, what's the trajectory? We get Region 0 designed, we get some beasts designed, essentially, and the backstory. So like, yeah, honestly, once I'm done with these things, then it's going to be like art time. And we'll start making art assets for the game. All right, so let's do some quick notes on the backstory. We want to talk about the creation of the universe for sure. But then, like, I want to focus mostly on creation of the planet. Because the idea with creating the planet is that it is pieces of other planets that have been destroyed and their resources taken, and then they're just kind of left floating in space. And some of the planets that were destroyed, the demigods lived on those planets, valued those planets. They were their home planets, and they used some of their power working together to like make a new planet, is the general idea. That's terribly explained, but will there be backtracking? Yeah, for sure. Probably a little bit heavier than Pokemon. I definitely want there to be a lot of extra little bonus things you can go back and do. You wanted to create a game, but you can't. Somebody said step back to go faster. Yeah, you could always make something small. I think Smallbrain's got a good point. If you aren't really sure what you want to do, if there isn't something you like absolutely have your heart set on making, then just like make small little things. I don't know. I bet if you set your mind to it, you could make a game like Mario. Make a game like Mario, but with like 5 levels or something. You know? You made 2 small games and now you're making a bigger project? Yeah. That seems like a good idea. I technically made 1 small game, which was the Godot 4 tutorial. That was fun. But I really want to make this game. So I'm just going full effort, everything I've got into this bullshit. Hopefully it works out. I feel like it might be a little bit too big of a project, but I don't know, whatever. You realize you have to not learn coding by making a game, but by thinking about how to write better code. I think it should be both. But I think only you personally would know, like you'd have a better feeling of what the problem is, right? I think maybe making some games will give you the practical knowledge of making games, and then learning how to write better code will give you the practical knowledge to make bigger games and not have to fix all your dumb messes because you made a bunch of messes with sloppy code. All right, so the backstory. We're going to talk about the creation of the universe because most backstories, let's call it mythology. So that's the idea. And I guess it will be mythology for the entire planet. Be like early Nair. So the idea is that like the gods rescue a bunch of people from all these destroyed planets and bring them to one place. And then those people all kind of spread out across the planet as time goes on. So initially they would all potentially have one shared mythology about what happened. And potentially even like a shared language if they were all living close together for a long period, but then eventually drift apart. And perhaps the gods had to assist in making sure they all had a shared language since they're all from a bunch of different cultures, different planets even. Yeah, Smallbrain, that's a good point. Like there will always be things you could clean up. That's kind of like my viewpoint is I just want to like trial by fire. I just want to make stuff. I like the mental challenge of trying to make things. It's fun to think about how to solve a problem, like with Radicate and trying to figure out how to get him to go find a berry. It's fun to try and like think your way through doing that. And I'm after, well, not just entertainment, but you know, there's that certain kind of like really wholesome enjoyment that you can get from solving problems, and I prefer that over trying to make sure that my code is like clean and perfect. Which it could be much cleaner. It should be much cleaner, let's be honest. I could probably clean up pretty much everything I've done. But, you know, whatever, step at a time. Okay, so if the mythology focuses mostly on the creation of the planet, only a little bit on the creation of the universe, I need to think about, like, metaphors for the... metaphors for the way the planet is created. And that's specifically, like, demigods collecting the fragmented remains of their old planets to create a new one. And you can't tab in Miro because they're evil. Well, maybe like shift tab. I feel like I've tried this before. No, it just changes where your focus is. Brutal. Okay, and so the other thing would be, it's not just that demigods collected fragments of their old planets to create a new one, but really before that, how would I say, like, the people of Nair? If Nair is the planet, like Earth is our planet, like Nairan? Oh, that sounds weird. Can I just, let's just add that to the dictionary. Okay, so like Nairan? I guess Nairian. Nairian sounds like Nigerian, but you're unwilling to make a G noise. All right, Nairan. We'll go with Nairan. It sounds different enough. Not Iranian. What the hell? Okay. All right. So, what do I want to say about those people? Like, all of the people of this planet are aware culturally that their old planets were destroyed. So, they know they're orphans of a sort. Their home planets were destroyed by some power, right? We got to explore what they think this power is that destroyed their planets even. And maybe each different species will have a slightly different view about what this power was. And so they'll view it like a metaphor, like, oh, like Zeus throwing lightning bolts, but like what it actually is, the player will come to discover at some point. For you, the most fun and the hardest thing is creating code from scratch. Not creating map editors and other hard stuff like physics engines. Yeah, if you don't want to make the hard stuff, then you should just do what I'm doing. Use an engine. As you learn the basics of programming loops, if statements, etc., you can start to make games. Yeah, with just a few, like, as long as you're willing to make a simple game, you don't need a whole lot. If you want to create a game, you shouldn't create it, but use someone's. Yeah, I think if you want to create a game more than you want to, like, create the, like, underlying code base for games, right? Like, if you make a physics engine, that can be used in a bunch of games. So if that's what you enjoy, then, like, do that. But if that's not what you enjoy, then you're lucky you live in this century, because a bunch of people have already done it for you. It's fucking sweet. So what do we want to do specifically? We want to explore the different viewpoints. Actually, yeah, let's. No, that's good enough. Okay, hold on. Oh, son of a bitch, you can tab in here. What the? Interesting. Why did tab not work before? All right, whatever. Explore different ways that each of the Nairan, let's say species, viewed the. We're gonna keep calling them some power. We're gonna give them a name, but we mean some kind of. It's gonna turn out that they're like some kind of like alien, an alien force that's involved in a struggle, and they are desperate for materials and supplies. They're on the run from another alien force, and so they kind of just took all the resources from the core of the planets that the Nairans used to live on. And just they were in a hurry, so they just like took what they needed and left. Like, sorry, little tiny ancient Nairan people, like, we don't care about you. We're trying to not die. Runs in, runs out, runs in intentionally. Hi, Dirk. Am I creating ideas for my game? Yeah. The Tuesday and Thursday is like lore, like creating the like background for the story of the game. trying to flesh out ideas. All right, so tab does indeed work. I just didn't hit enter before. Okay, all right. All right. Okay, so for the origin story, we want to look at the different ways that each different species is going to view the power. And should expand on this. You know what? Maybe. Ooh. Let's go with evil force. We'll call them an evil force. It'll turn out they're not really evil, like maliciously evil, but you know. Shit happens. Shit happens. Do demigods collect something from the spirit world? In what context? I was kind of thinking, like, as we explore, like, magic, the spirit world will be a place to, kind of where, like a place that energy is stored. And that is how, like, you know, there needs to be some explanation as to how, like, if there is a spirit world, how do all the spirits get to stay around? What, like, to stay alive, you need to eat food, take in energy so that you can, like, keep your body formed. How would the spirit world keep all these spirits alive? There's got to be some kind of energy source flowing in order to maintain that order. So we'll explore that at some point. I don't think the demigods would use the spirit world for memories. I think they would use their own memories as fuel. I think that's part of the value of being a demigod is the older you get, the more that you see. And also you're no longer susceptible to aging. So your brain is just like locked in. You know, you're not worried about becoming old and feeble. So as you explore the world more, as you explore many worlds more, your memories are greater and greater in number. Whoa, part of the value of being a demigod is you can sacrifice the memories of the devoted instead of yours. Whoa. Okay, now that sounds downright cruel. I don't know if any of our currently made demigods are actually cruel in that way. But like maybe certainly being worshipped gives them power. Believing in them gives them power. People like sacrificing for them gives them power, but what about stealing their memories, like destroying their memories as fuel is okay, you know what? I'm going to put that in the cool idea list because that seems like a cool thing for, like, kind of a shitty god to do. It's a cool idea. Who said stealing? Well, you said sacrifice. You're right. I used the wrong word. Stealing. Wrong. Destroying. Getting rid of. Losing. Did I? Why are you not? There we go. Okay. All right. All right, Obsidian. Cool idea. It's an outright known exchange. Ooh. Yeah. That would make it less evil. It's still creepy. That's still super creepy. Interesting idea, though. Like I said, I like that idea for like a kind of morally gray or outright evil god, which we definitely need. We need some outside forces that are evil. Maybe it's the price for being an avatar, emboldened, or a paladin. Maybe to a certain extent. We'd have to explore exactly how you would lose your memories, because that's like that makes the person lose who they are, and that sucks. I don't want to do that. I feel like that weakens. If too many people are doing that, that like weakens the character. If the character loses their memories. Maybe one character doing it could be like an interesting story to explore, but if everybody's doing it, oh, okay. If everybody's doing it, then there's interesting room for like manipulation. All right. Okay. So maybe not an evil god. Maybe a morally gray god that lets people do it for power. Who said gods want everybody? Yeah, I guess. Okay, I was again misspeaking. I meant if like lots of people are doing it. If you have like, I don't know, like an entire army of paladins, or like a huge group of paladins that are all like sacrificing their memories. It's like, I don't know. That seems like they would lose who they are as people. But maybe if we could come up with like specific kinds of memories or things to sacrifice, that could be interesting. But anyway, I want to get these notes down for the origin. Power doesn't come from the void. My God, Dirk, you just drop like intriguing sentences all the time. Power could come from a void. I don't know. Shit. All right. On topic. I need to get this idea out, which is that each different species potentially saw different things when their planet was destroyed, right? So I'm going to say, like, we're going to explore the different ways that each of the Nearan species viewed the evil force that destroyed their planets. Each species' planet was destroyed in a different way, and so they have a different view of the evil force. Yeah. And I guess we'll say, like, each view is partially true. And so, like, maybe one species would view them as, like, a giant snake that sucked all the water out of their planet and cracked it apart when that happened. And another species would view them as... shit, I don't know. Some other animal that did something that destroyed their planet in a different way. Yeah, shit. Okay. So I should actually outline that better. I'll leave an example. Each view is partially true. For example, zoom in. For example, one species might view the evil force as a serpent that sucked all the water from their planet and caused it to crack into pieces because of the violent removal of so much matter. All right, that's a bit much, but okay. And you know what? I'm going to restructure this. I don't know why I structured this way. Okay, so we want you to be like you're a double tab in. And then... why did I format this like this? It was a mistake. Okay. Almost there. Great. I lied. Still not there. Okay. 2 more button presses and nope, 3. Okay, we're good. All right, okay. Ooh, are we returning to the magic question? Shit, good point, Dirk. We should do that. We should do that. Let me outline the rest of the origin story, just like bare stuff, so I can start thinking about the ideas in my free time. And that's a cool idea to use the like eldritch elements. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool idea. And that will help. That will help with what I want, which is I want the eight primary elements to be viewed as like ancient and well understood and appreciated by the people as part of the world. But then these eldritch elements are like, they're weird. They're not necessarily like new as a force, like at all. But the power that comes with them is like strange. Hey, Crazy Pants. Calamity Ganons. I fucking love that term. It's very fun. It's so extreme. So yeah, Dirk, that's a really cool idea. This will absolutely, if those elements are to blame for destroying their old homeworlds, then certainly on their new homeworld, they would all be super sus about those elements in general. Restore went good. Crazy Pants can tell you about it. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I want to think more about what the metaphors would be for their planet being destroyed. I'll do that like off stream, just here and there, thinking about ideas. I think I want to refer back to the creation myths of the demigods that will have formed the new planet. Let's say Eldritch Elements, review creation myths. I would really like that to fit. There we go. Okay. And so then we're going to piece together this like multi-part creation myth, kind of the way that like the Slavic creation myth has like 3 different versions, but they all have like core similarities to them. So we want to do that. And then the end result is you end up with a story that has some truth to it. A lot of the truth is metaphorical. And then the actual literal truth will be explored by the player as they uncover things about the planet and the past, in an effort to figure out what's going on in the world as things become like chaotic and dangerous. I guess would be the general idea, and I guess I should note that, right? So, goal is multiple. Why am I off to the side? What am I doing? Because the mic arm doesn't like to adjust, and then it's kind of hard to read chat. That's why. All right. Okay, so the goal is multiple creation myths that mostly match, or that have some similarities. And they get at metaphorical truths about the past. As the player Let's see. As the player gets further into the campaign, as the player plays the game, as the player experiences the campaign, as the game's campaign unfolds, the player learns more about the actual truths behind the planet's creation. Maybe let's outline a few of those just so I remember them. There's a war between alien powers. And Nairans were an unfortunate casualty of that war. Let's say Nairans' old planets were an unfortunate casualty of that war. So then in the origin story, there will be like the evil force that destroyed the old planets. Like, they're not actually evil. They're not malicious. But it certainly seems like that because of how little they cared about destroying the planets of the Nairans. That's weird. I guess I should. It's like the Nairans are called Nairans because they live on Nair, which is the new planet. But then their species all also had old planets. Maybe like I'll call them like ancestral homeworlds. It was the homeworld of their ancestors. Maybe. I guess we might want to outline information about those planets when deciding on the origin story, because if the idea is going to be that like the demigods took chunks of each of the old planets to make the new planet, then the makeup of the old planets would be important in determining the makeup of Nair. Okay. So, say like explore each ancestor planet and what it contributes. So maybe if there was an ice planet, or if there was a planet that was everything was destroyed except the polar ice caps, so then they use the polar ice caps as they use the polar ice caps of the ancestral planet to be the polar ice caps of Nair. Something like that. And then I think we need to account for time passing. You imagine that a culture that got their homeworld destroyed by sound would be hesitant to engage in music and unfunctional speech, like poetry and other things. Like they would just like we'll be the writing people. Let's write stuff down. Don't speak it. It's an interesting idea. And maybe not, there might not be laws against it, but like culturally, they might just like in general be like, nah, let's just not do that. We don't do that. We all write our poetry down and we pass them around in books and we all read it and go, mm-hmm. Or actually, no, we all nod silently. And then we all turn the page. And we all nod, read more and nod silently. Okay, so yeah, let's note that specifically. Explore the impact of destroying a culture's planet with sound. God, what are all of them? I should know them. I don't. Let's go find them. I deleted that thing too quickly. Cosmic forces will be weird. Sound is so very tangible. Sound, force, psychic, and cosmic. All right. Going back. So sound would be the easiest to explore. Force would be strange. I guess they might just like fear magic. They might be very like rigid and ordered, very like stern about how you engage with the use of magic because the raw magical force was used to destroy their planet. Maybe fanatics would destroy stuff. Yeah, I feel like that. I think that's something we could explore for all of this. PTSR manifests in strange ways. PTSD. What is PTSR? Is that a different? Is that like PTSD but different? Maybe not. Could overcharge the core of a planet. Interesting. Oh, it's the same thing. All right. Okay. It's an interesting idea. And then what, they're gonna like use the core for something? Like you overcharge a duck for foie gras. Oh my god. All right, that's a very brutal way to look at that. Don't. Oh my god. Oh my god. We would have to decide what they were gonna do with it, though, right? Like, why would they overcharge it? Are they gonna like use it to like get some kind of like reaction going, like a nuclear reaction in the core, and then like trap the core and use it as like a fuel source? I don't know. It forms specific structures. Oh, that's interesting. Like they needed if they needed like some kind of metal from it or something, and they like overcharge it so that metal can form, and then they harvest all the metal. I don't know. I'm gonna have to like look at like science fiction stuff. Like what would be if you were a species that could conquer or colonize a galaxy, what would be the reasons you might destroy a whole planet for the purpose of resource extraction, kind of a thing? Last days are extremely nice as everything was blossoming and working without energy sources. Wait, this is a statement about real life, right? Hold on. No, you mean if they overcharge the core of the planet, then that would lead to things just like being nice. If I feel like nature is about balance, and if you came and overcharged the core of a planet, that would throw things out of whack. Maybe I'm wrong. My general thought was that all of the things that are done to these planets are like catastrophic. Ooh, sure, before the collapse. Yeah, okay, that's an interesting idea. So like things are great and then they just get like terrible. That's an interesting, that could impact a culture in a weird way. Like they would be afraid of things being too nice. Just stay hidden and harvest people for their resources in silence. Well, so small brain, what I'm thinking is like the people who do the planet destroying, like they're never gonna come back here again, and their viewpoint is like we need fuel, we need metal We need like organic matter. We need these resources, so let's just like suck them all out of the planets that are around us, and then we're just gonna go on our way, and you'll never see us again, right? Like it's like the Nairans are so small and technologically unadvanced that like it wouldn't be worth it to like harvest their resources other than in just like one big go. One big like just suck it all out and keep moving. Get all the water you can. And I guess maybe I should let's talk about resources. What resources might what do we call it, like a world ship? And I kind of what I kind of wanted the situation to be is that like the evil force that extracts all these things from the planet, like not only are they not necessarily evil, but like maybe when the player understands the context of what they did, it was like worth it. Like in Star Wars, like Princess Leia has the plans to the Death Star or whatever. And like, what if she had to suck all of the fuel out of some planet and just like doom that planet? But it meant like getting the Death Star plans to the Rebel Alliance so they could like stop the Empire or something like that, you know? Maybe a spirit world structure harvest. Ooh. Okay. So wait, let's organize this. So first there might be mundane resources, right? And that's going to be like water, metal, organic matter, like nuclear resources. Like maybe the like the core of a planet or something is like rich with uranium or something, and they're like, "Ooh, we could just take your whole core and use that to like power our engines for a long time." Say like nuclear fuel. Yeah. Okay, so those would be like mundane resources. So then how about like magical resources? This is going to be like fantasy stuff. Oh, I don't like that being bold. And so for that, you could go with the recurring magical resource that will be ever present throughout the game, which is glass. I guess like we'll say magic crystals. Still not comfortable just writing glass. I know what glass is, but maybe people watching don't. And then what else? This idea, harvesting something from the spirit world. Now, how would that lead to destroying the planet, right? Will we use the term energy or mana? I think both. Like, energy is a good broad term, and mana is kind of too. And maybe we'll come up with some kind of like scientists will have like a technical term for it as they learn more and more about it, since the state of the world is that they're trying to like the magical crystals are running out. We're using too many of them. There's not enough of them. Our whole society, oopsie, is based on using them as fuel sources for industry and trade. And maybe that wasn't so smart, but we did it anyway. And so scientists are trying to make artificial ones through whatever means possible. So as they learn more and more about like how magic works, how they might mimic it through artificial means, maybe they'll come up with some specific name, but people would still call it energy or mana for sure. Maybe harvesting needs to destroy the planet. Okay, harvesting of something from the spirit world, but how, right? Like there might be some natural protective ward. So like the planet itself is protecting the spirit world. Okay. All right. So that is kind of that works with the idea that I had previously, which is that what I want to end up being part of the plot is that the reason that there is a spirit world that is so powerful in Nair, on the planet Nair, is because it's being fueled by some kind of like eldritch creature that is like wounded and lives in the core of the planet, and the demigods were like trying to help it. It was like a oh my god. He was an innocent bystander in this war and got fucked up. So they're like trying to protect him. He's an eldritch being, but he's like generally benevolent. He didn't do anything wrong. So they put him in the core of the planet so that he can like sleep and recover. And part of his influence is what makes people's dreams begin to influence reality, and is also why the spirit world can be such an active and powerful thing on this planet, rather than just like a metaphor like it is on other planets. You cannot harvest my neural system without dissection. Oh my god, bro. Whew. Jesus. Okay, all right. So what would be the reasoning for that? What would they need? What would they need spirit energy for? Like, okay, what if there's one eldritch being that allows a spirit world to exist, and like the people of Nair love having a spirit world because it means like when grandma dies, you could still go visit her. You could still be like, hey grandma, like what's up? How's it going? And she'd be like, oh, it's fucking sweet. I'm just like hanging out, being like part of this cool energy field, and it's great to watch you guys grow up. Wonderful. I saw that your cousin became a knight. That's cool. He looks so nice in his knight uniform. I don't know. Like so like everybody would appreciate that, right? Like I'd appreciate being able to talk to the dead. But if that exists in one place, maybe it exists in many places. So like what if they needed this energy? The evil force needs this energy to keep their own version of that going. Ooh, okay, that's a cool idea to turn it towards something nefarious, like to use it as a like a means of resurrection. Okay, so yeah, I like the thing I was getting at, but I also like that idea too. So like imagine if you were a military and you could just like your commanders who had died and shit, like you could still communicate with them. You could have like a war council, but it could be dead people. But then you would need some kind of energy to keep them alive, right? Like they don't eat, but yet they're still forming like new memories. They still continue to exist against the chaos and entropy of the universe. So that would be a reason to have spirit energy, but also I like the idea of resurrection, being able to use it to like bring yourself back to life. Maybe this would need to be limited, right? Because if you could just bring people back to life, they would the Spirit War Council would probably be like, hey, like bring us back to life, man. So maybe if you die, you can very quickly be resurrected. And it's very costly. So then like the only people who get instant resurrection are like the high up people. Kind of a cool idea. A means of creating AI. That's too mundane. That's something that we can do in real life almost without mumbo jumbo magic energy. I think we should stick with... We would need a magic spin on it. Like a magic AI, an MAI. What would it do that's special? That a normal AI couldn't. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying a large language model is general AI. Yeah, it's absolutely not. Shit, I gotta close my windows. One moment. Go crazy pants if you're still listening. Probably should close the windows up. AC's on. Although actually, I guess you could leave yours open out there because it's only 76, but the AC is about to turn on because it's now 78. Close windows before Greg gets out. No, there's a screen. She tried climbing it a bunch of times. She's finally learned she can't get through it. She bent some of the little wires a tiny bit, but she's fucking stuck in here. Nope, that's the wrong camera. That's a camera that I moved to be able to watch Greg while she was scratching. Hold on. We have a cat cam. We have a cat cam for Greg. There she is. There's that cat. Just chilling out. You'd never believe she's a fucking monster. Okay. It would be cool to use spirit energy for some kind of AI. Maybe like extending the idea of like a spirit war council. Maybe like keeping a demigod alive. And they could be like hyper intelligent. They could be like an AI almost. I want a good spin on that. We'll write it down for now. Okay, so we have some cool ideas as far as what the reasons would be to destroy the ancestor worlds. And then let's see, I kind of want to move this. Yeah, I want to reorganize these. Okay, so I think this is a more sensible order. Okay, so then when we get into the last part so far chronologically would be now that, okay, for whatever reason the planets were destroyed, the ancestor planets, then the demigods collect the fragments, and then from there we need at least a little bit of an outline. And I guess actually, yeah, now we can go to another major bullet point, which I guess should be this. Right, so we want to focus on how the planets were destroyed, but then also about how this new planet was created, and we need like we want like a conflict. Maybe a conflict among the demigods, or people. So they go to shape the world, and then there are some kinds of problems, and that leads to like everybody lived in one spot, and then they all like explore and spread out, and they don't maintain like a singular government structure, right? They all like go and form their own countries. So maybe I'll just say leads to a divided people who would be stronger together. That is going to be a message, right? Being stronger together is important when there's an actual serious threat. Oh my god, my nose will not stop itching and it's driving me insane. It's like, this is beyond the pale. Okay, so I think that's good. Major bully point. All right, okay, bad pun. I think that's good as the outline, and I can kind of just keep reading this over while I watch stupid YouTube videos about science fiction stuff and try and figure out exactly what I want. I'm gonna make a note for myself though. Review creation myths. I would like to kind of take inspiration from each of the creation myths of the demigods, of the cultures that inspired the demigods. And is there anything else important? Right. So I think in this origin story, I also want to I want to explain the abundance of magical crystals on the planet, right? This new planet just has a lot of magic resources, and enough that the old planets were valuable only because the evil force was traveling through the area. But then if any powerful species, magical or science fiction, knew about the sheer density of magic crystals on this planet, they would be there in a second to get them. And that will be part of the rising conflict, will be that certain powers start to realize like, oh shit, there's some shit here that we want to take. And I want a mythological explanation as to why for the origin story. It will be not correct. Metaphorically, there will be some truth to it or whatever, but are planets a trampoline to be a demigod? Whoa. As in like it would influence them or help them to become one. Like you can't become a demigod on a planet without a specific core. No, that wouldn't work because the idea is that I guess these demigods became demigods and then they built this planet, right? That is an interesting idea. I like the idea that demigods can come from many different forms, many different ways. There's no one specific way to become a demigod other than like you die. You die in some way in real life, and instead of that being the end, through some kind of means, your consciousness becomes no longer like stored in your mortal body, but now stored in some kind of like magical third space. So it could be a core situation. So actually, well, that's okay. No, that's a good point. Like lichdom ascension. I don't know about like lichdom, but I don't know enough about liches. But yeah, some kind of ascension. It could be that like you perform some kind of powerful spell with the intent of becoming immortal and it works. It could be that you just like you spend your whole life like learning and becoming more powerful, learning all sorts of like ancient spells and shit, and without even realizing it, your consciousness is actually separated from your mortal form, and then you die, and then you realize like, oh shit, I'm not dead. Like my body's dead, but like I'm not dead. Huh. Fascinating. What an experience. Some kind of like catalyst of an event happened in your life. Maybe it happens right when you die. Maybe it happened long before your mortal body died. Something like that. But I want to make a note of that. I should explore like the demigods' origin stories. Like where did they actually come from? And that would be especially important, like, because this is like the Nairan people's origin creation myth. They would definitely value these demigods. I don't know where to put that. So we could put it here where we're talking about multiple creation myths. I'll just put it at the very top. Explore the origins of each demigod. Right, that's definitely important. We'll have to come up with some cool reason that that they each became a demigod. And it should, whatever those reasons are, should definitely influence why they are the way they are. Why they are the god of what they're the god of. Why can I not just make you go up here? I guess because there's text at the very bottom, buddy. Duh. It'll just go up automatically. Yep, that is how it works. Yep, you knew that's how it works. You've done this before. Okay. So that's good. I'm going to put this up here. Actually, no, I'm going to put it down here and make it a little bit bigger. Whoop. And then I think what we want to do now is look through that magic thing that Dirk was talking about. Figure out what magic is. You had like a true magic. Mages who couldn't cast something more than a cantrip, being pretty sturdy, but once per life might have cast the spell level of a god that would literally erase their body by the sheer amount of mana used. Whoa. Okay, yeah, like something like that. Some of them casted some sort of ritual ascension, and some died of old age, never using their full potential. Oh, that's sad. Damn, you could have lived forever if you just tried, buddy. Damn. I feel like something like that would be appropriate for the way that someone might ascend to become a demigod. There's no one way to do it. Kind of like we don't really know how life started. Like we kind of don't know for sure how a demigod is formed. But like you need some kind of like powerful magic. And then like something fucking happens and now the person who that magic was channeled through or who the magic was let out around, their consciousness is now separated from their mortal form. Ascended gods started bounty hunts on them. Oh my god. Sure, like you ascend and then since you don't want anyone else ascended because they could challenge you power-wise, you would then go out and hunt down the those who were capable of ascension. Yeah, that's brutal. I feel like that would be a similar maybe not actually like trying to hunt people down in the Scribe universe. Like if you're a demigod, you don't really know how everybody would become demigods. You can't really just like see who's going to be a demigod, but you would certainly avoid other demigods because they're probably the only thing that could kill you. That or like if one of these world destroying events happened, but you were like already weakened, like maybe you could die, maybe not. There's not a lot of information about that. And hold on, I need to write down a cool idea. If there was a guy who was like trying to figure out how to kill demigods, like a historian trying to like document like how to kill a demigod. That sounds cool. That's a fun idea. Maybe slow down natural progress feeding crumbs. What now? Feeding crumbs to people. Slow down the natural progress of what, Durg? Instead of hunting people down. Like, well, so wait, would you just don't let them reach the level to ascend? So then almost like instead of feeding them crumbs, you should almost like feed them misinformation. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, so... Shit. That makes me want to make another text box. Like ideas to explore for like Nair's history. So what? Oh my God. Protecting the niche is a powerful thing to explore. Yeah. How would we... Ooh. Because, like, I feel like that would influence societies, right? Like, demigods would absolutely come to rule societies, and then, like, you know, if Putin was in charge of a society, he'd be doing all sorts of fucked up shit to prevent people from becoming demigods. He'd be doing all the bad things we've talked about. Also, fuck Putin. You know, just if that's not obvious. So how... Ooh, okay. So... demigod or... Like, not even a demigod, right? Like, if you weren't a demigod, but you were a ruler... You might, like, try to stop other people from becoming demigods, or even just more powerful sorcerers. Demigod or ruler trying to control magic, limit demigod ascension, limit the number of powerful sorcerers, and we're off the page, so it just made it smaller. Thank you. Drag that over a little bit. Maybe not. Shit. Okay, yeah, actually, let's just... Whoop, there we go. That's fine. Okay. So I think we'll revisit this. And maybe not Nair's history, for the history of Nair's nations. And the player is only going to visit a single nation, but members of other nations are sure going to be coming to do some fucked up things to the nation that the player is visiting. So we need some like interesting little background tidbits about why people are coming. And you know what? This is a good place to mention. I've mentioned it elsewhere. That mana crystals are running out elsewhere, but abundant. Shit. I don't remember what I decided to name the nation. I think for now they have been nicknamed the Endless Islands, so we're gonna go with that. All right. Unless power being finite and time being finite are part of your worldview. As in that situation, power wouldn't corrupt? I think power corrupts no matter what. Okay, so we'll come back and add ideas to this as we think about everything else. If we think about ideas that like would heavily influence political leaders, we'll have all sorts of the typical like real world stuff, like food shortages and fascists trying to take power from democracies and people being racist and classist, but we want to get it like fantasy, unique fantasy ideas for the history of Nair's nations. Sure, something like that. Yeah. So in the situation of power being finite and time being finite, you have humility and the vision of just stepping away. You don't want to spoil Baldur's Gate. Well, yeah, then shut up. God damn it, Dirk. We're like a portion of the way through the last act in Baldur's Gate. Fuck. We're still not completely sure what we want to do. I think we're planning on freeing one guy and trying to kill all the other guys. That's about as vague as I would like to get. Once I finish, let you spill all the tea. Okay, all right. I want to play through again and be like a really bad man. I want to play through the game again and be like a lawful evil person who's like, I'm in this for me and I'm going to like make alliances and betray people. I'll even make alliances with evil people and potentially betray them. But like right now, we're just like, we're like goody two shoes. It's very fun in a fantasy world to be like incredibly powerful and also like righteous and a source of justice. It's very fun. Asmodeus follower. Like the demon guy? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, when you spill the tea, don't tell me what might happen in other endings, because I want to go get a bunch of the other endings. I got to do like 3 different run-throughs of this game in total. He's Lord of the Nine Hells and God. Oh, okay. I mean, he's also like a biblical figure or something, right? It's like the name they took from like real life mythology of some kind. I think the most powerful person named regularly is Zariel, who's the like general of all the armies in the Nine Hells or whatever. Is he a papa of Raphael? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know either. I don't think Raphael's mentioned it. I don't know if Asmodeus has been mentioned at all. Zariel's a fallen angel. Zariel's such a cool name. Okay, it's back on track. We're gonna keep this open, and then once we're gonna go through the thing, I still have it open. This thing, it's like a little questionnaire about what is magic, and we'll fill out answers if it seems right, and then we're gonna look at this. Why can I not make you shorter? Because I hit enter a bunch, because I do that. Okay. We're going to look at designing Region 0 in depth. We're going to go through all these things, try to figure out what we got going on. Okay, so let's do the magic thing. Hey, TKJ. Yo, back at you. Okay, I guess we'll just start at the very beginning. When your character takes an action in play, hopefully it makes sense to you. You can imagine it with some clarity, and you have an instinctive sense of how things work that allows you to have fun without overthinking it. Consider the number of calculations that go into punching someone. Are your hands free? Can you move them? Are you close enough? Have you balled your hands into fists in preparation? We don't stop and talk through those steps in play because we understand them implicitly to be part of the act of punching. This clarity thins as we move into areas outside of common experience, but by and large you can grasp the chain of action that goes into things. Sufficiently misunderstood action is indistinguishable from magic. Oh boy. Magic upends this. We don't have the same foundation of experience to reference when we start throwing around thunder and lightning. So we try to find rules and logic that make the magical more familiar to us, and that's something of a paradox. Magic is by its nature a creation of fiction, and writers and creators are more interested in how it helps them tell stories than any kind of internal rules. Games, on the other hand, need rules. The consistency of rules make behavior. Without rhyme or reason, it's just madness. The good news is that there's a sweet spot that you can aim for. While it's true that magic is a convenience of authors, those who use it willy-nilly produce tepid, mushy fantasy. Giving magic rules is not just good gaming, it's good fiction. If you can find the spot where those two priorities overlap, then you've got the workings of a great magic system. Cool. All right. You weren't here to tell me 2 days ago was your birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday, bro. Ooh, I need a little, I need a fun soundbite for a happy birthday. Hope it was a good time. All right, the basics. The simple test for this is whether or not your magic system makes sense without the game. This is backwards from the way a lot of games feel. Coming up with the mechanical basis for a magic system is a lot of fun. You did it! Oh no, Dirk, don't spend your points, bro. Save up. Coming up with a mechanical basis for a magical system is a lot of fun. It is often the first thing we do with a new system, but this largely ends up perpetuating magic systems we already know from games where ideas and rules don't mesh. The greatest example of a magic system is Vancian magic, called such because it's based off the books of the late great Jack Vance, where wizards memorize spells, then forget them after casting. Oh my god. This should be familiar as the basis for magic in D&D, and whatever one thinks of its implementation in D&D and related games, it definitely instituted a number of rules, spellbooks, spells per level, and so on to capture that idea. If you want to base your magic on Vance, then you're picking some great source material. The trap to avoid is not to base your magic on someone else's interpretation of Vance. Well, unless you like that, but you should know you're doing it. If it would be good if you knew. To put it another way, magic is not an excuse to add spells to your game. So wait one moment. I don't like having this thing over here. You know what? Hold on. It'll be fine. I'll just put myself over here. And also, Firefox, what is your shape? Here you go, buddy. Just to capture the whole fucking window and put it to the full screen. Fucking weirdo. To put it another way, magic is not just an excuse to add spells to your game. Magic says incredibly important things about your game and your setting, and if you don't think those things through, you're going to end up with a thinly painted on layer of magic that will quickly chip and fade. Yeah, okay, I mean, yeah, sure, I would like to avoid that. Yeah, definitely. It's worth it. People have birthdays once per year, sure. Sure. Do I like D&D? I do. I like the narrow ways that I've interacted with D&D, which is that I've played Baldur's Gate 3. I've also watched some people play, like Critical Role. I like the ideas behind D&D. I don't have enough experience actually playing it to say that I like it. Seems cool, though. I feel like I would like it. if somebody wanted to pay me to like be a DM or something, if like Bezos called me and was just like, hey, I'll pay you like thousands of dollars a month, just like DM for me and my friends, I would love to do that. It would be very fun. Like making up a weird magic world for Jeff Bezos and his dumb friends to play through. He might fire me though. I might put in some lessons in there about like how capitalism fucking sucks and how Bezos is kind of a piece of shit. But you know, it would still be a good time. You've homebrewed for D&D? That sounds so difficult, but fun. Maybe like little tiny tweaks I would want to do. Especially if it was something the players really wanted. If they were like, we want to have characters that work like this and D&D doesn't have that, it would be fun to come up with systems to kind of fit it into the D&D world. Seems cool too. Okay, what is magic? So what is magic and how does it work? There's no single answer to that, and while that's rather the point, it's also intensely frustrating. You could say magic is a way to do things that are otherwise impossible, or an alternate means of doing things that are possible. I think it's the second one for the most part, but that falls short. You could bust out some Arthur C. Clarke and just treat it as a different kind of science. You could treat it as a system of prices, risks, and rewards. You could consider it something that comes from someone else, someone horrible or wonderful, depending. Yeah, honestly, I feel like actually like all of this should kind of be true. You'd still be missing things, but for ease of application, we're going to seize upon a few key threads and boil it down to these 5 factors. Ooh, all right, okay. Had someone help you make a homebrew that is Sackboy-esque. Huh. Yeah, Sackboy's the main character from Little Big Planet. Interesting. That's a weird choice for D&D. Sounds interesting though. Okay, so the tone. Is magic a neutral force, a flavored force, or something with opinions? Okay, great. He's going to expand on that because I was like, what? A flavored force versus a neutral force. Huh. I don't know what that would mean. Well, we'll get there. Okay, cost. Does magic demand a price, a risk, or neither? Limits. Does magic follow strict rules? Is it flexible and open-ended? What are the limits on magic? Availability. Is magic universally available, so everyone in a setting might have it? Is it rare enough that only some people have it, possibly including all of the player characters? Or is it rare enough that only 1 or 2 player characters might have access to it? And source, where does magic come from? Oh my god. I honestly feel like for all of these I don't have like a finite answer, but let's think about it. Okay, tone. You know what? I can be bigger. Let's be bigger. The first factor speaks to the nature of magic itself. Neutral magic is a force, like electricity or gravity, which is simply implemented like a tool. While a flavored force either responds to or is inclined towards certain outcomes. The most common example of this is a magic that tends towards the dark and the light, and which perhaps operates differently at each end of the spectrum. In this case, the magic is not necessarily an intelligent force, but it has tendencies. For example, fire tends to burn, earth tends to be stable. Opinionated magic comes from someone. Maybe it's a god or an angel. Maybe it's a horrible monstrosity outside of time and space. Whoever they are, they have agendas, and magic is a tool for them to drive those agendas. There's a lot of room for nuance here. The magic might be neutral in its use, but the source might be opinionated. On the other hand, if magic actually summons or channels these beings, then the actual manifestation of magic may be shaped by their opinions. Oh my god. Whew. All right. Okay, so let's think about that one for a little bit. And I guess I should actually look. Is this going to have like questions for me or something? Okay, no, it's just like organization, things to think about. Okay, so let's maybe... do I maybe just make a new Google Sheet for this? I guess so. New document, baby. We'll just call it What is Magic? And I don't know why it unhighlighted just part of what I clicked. All right. There are examples, though, in the following chapters. Oh, shit, for real? It just ends at the bottom of this page, though. That's annoying. So... there we go. Magic systems, making your own. Whoa. Storm summoners, storm callers, the 6 viziers, the subtle art. Ooh, cool. Void callers, cool. And then making your own. Shoot. Okay, well, yeah, I don't want to start... I don't want to start until an appropriate time. But honestly, I think maybe taking some notes would be a good idea. Okay, so annoyingly, I feel like the answer, or the like, you can start and refine. Yeah, I think that's what we should do. I feel like the answer for tone is like all of these tones. Different kinds of magic have different kinds of tones to them. You have to make priorities and structures. Yeah, so... okay, so we'll start with, we'll just repeat what is magic. And then we'll make you a little bit larger. Make you like 14. Make you 18 and put you in the middle. Shoot, I'm like zoomed in. Where's the text alignment? That. Okay. Oh, now I'm too big. Okay, so, and then we're starting with tone. Tone, I would like you to be bigger. I'll make you 14. Okay. We'll drop back to 11. Sure. So it starts with like neutral and flavored. So I definitely, I want there to be magic that's opinionated for sure. And I think the Eldritch forces are more of opinionated magic. There's neutral magic that's used through flavored sources or elements. When you have limited ability or time to channel, you might tap into deific or patron support. Yeah. So that's the exact thing that I was thinking of, that like the neutral and flavored stuff is heavily mixed together because of that. And okay, I'm gonna just like write these so I remember them. Neutral, flavored, and opinionated. Opinionated. Thank you. You think there might be no neutral flavored stuff? Well, so so it's kind of confusing because I think if each magic is related to its element, that's definitely a thing, right? Magic is always related to an element. At least thus far in the world, there is no known non-elemental magic. And yeah, so that's the weird thing, is that kind of all of the like all 8 of the, I'm gonna call them like mundane elements, maybe traditional, all 8 of the traditional elements like come from magic as a force. And then that is kind of confusing because for the sake of organizing magic, force is considered an element for sure. And I feel like you could look at them as neutral because they're doing what you would expect of them. Like fire is just being fire. It just is fire. But I think that's not really what they're getting at with neutral. Like, I think every single thing will be flavored. But in a way, it is like magic is not, if you make electricity from magic, it's just like regular fucking electricity. You just made it from a different source. So like in that way, it would just react like you would expect electricity to react. What does magic taste like? Oh my God. Probably many things. Dumb idea for an ability in a fighting game. One character has a purple cat item that the more you hit it, the more damage and knockback it does, but it can't touch the ground. You're basically playing volleyball with a cat that can't get hurt. That's cute. Yeah, Dirk, for sure. The source or the end result is neutral. But the manifestation of it is flavored. Yeah. The electric one probably tastes like coins. It might taste a little bit like that. I feel like you could make a guess at what they all taste like. I don't know if fire would have a taste though. Fire would probably just hurt. Might have a smell. So magic is always related to an element, and its results are... So we'll say, okay, magic is always related to an element, flavored. The results of a magic spell are... like the result is the same... It's just the same as if it happened naturally. The results of a magic spell are indistinguishable from natural forces. So like a good example is like lightning. Lightning is just lightning. If you make lightning from magic, it's going to do and look the same as lightning that happened in real life. Lightning from magic you could probably make happen out of nowhere. Whereas lightning in real life is going to happen only during a storm. Sure. It tastes of electrolysis. Now here's the question though, when you like put a penny in your mouth or whatever and it tastes like metal, or you like, you can like, I don't know, you can like lick a battery, right? And it like, it tastes strange. Is that just like, electrons flowing, allowing you to taste the metal more extremely? What would electrons taste like in the absence of metal? You know? Maybe it just still wouldn't taste like anything. I don't know. Okay, and so I'm going to change the title. We're not really working on the opening area now, and we won't be for a bit. This seems like a big thing to deal with. Let's just change it to what is magic. Okay, so magic's always related to an element, which means that it's flavored. And so the writer used the example of like light and dark, but then also an example of like fire tends to burn. And I think that's like a good enough thing to just put here. Right, and this is very overplayed. But I think it's overplayed because it's just so inherently expected of magic systems. Like humans are fascinated with fire, and the ability to command it would be cool, and it would be cool because you could make stuff burn. It's like there's no other, like that's why people want to command fire. They want to be able to like stop fire from burning the things they don't want it to burn, but like they also want it maybe to make it burn stuff. Like that would be cool. If like somebody attacked you and you could just like light them on fire, like that's fucking cool. Would fire work like firebending? I don't really know how firebending works. Bending always sounded like you couldn't make it from nothing. You could only like kind of manipulate it once it's here. And I think maybe that's something to get at. Like I would say the world that I'm imagining, like bending reality is easier than breaking it. And so then like making lightning in a lightning storm is easier. Right? Like if you were just to try and call lightning from a clear sky, that would take more effort of some kind, more internal power, more fuel source of whatever you're using to make this magic spell. Whereas if you're just trying to like call lightning down during a lightning storm, you're just like, you're bending the truth. You're not just completely breaking it as an idea. Manifestation effect in places of natural occurrence is easier. Sure. Okay. Same thing, different words. And then I think this is important to note. This is like there are people in the world who think of themselves as a black person. And that's like really not helpful for like geneticists, because if you view your race as like black, there is more diversity in that group than there is in all other groups of people. So it's like not helpful. Someone who's like, oh, I'm Mexican or I'm Norwegian, like something like that, compared to someone who's just like, I'm African. It's like that isn't a good dividing line for science. It's a good dividing line for like culture, for like how you view yourself culturally. How are we in race talk now? It'll get there really quickly. So, in that same way that there is value to breaking down the elements, but like scientifically they all come from a singular force, a singular like field that exists everywhere, like gravity or electromagnetism. It all comes from a magical force. And so then, like, when you're talking about the 8 traditional elements in this world, there isn't a lot of like scientific ability to divide them up. It's more about like practicality, like using them in day-to-day life. It makes sense to divide them up, but there are places where they will cross over. They will like share domains, and it's because they're not actually these like separate things. They're all part of the same fundamental magic force, like gravity or electromagnetism. And kind of like you might think electricity and magnetism are 2 different things, but then you do some stuff and you realize like, oh, they're like the same. Is there an anti-element? Not like as a whole, but like the goal is to have like certain elements that counter each other, but not in a perfect way. There isn't just like an exact opposite to everything. Like there might be a fire spell that you can counter with a water spell, at least the results. Like you could light something on fire and then put it out with water. Or you might use fire to heat something up. Like to heat up an enemy's weapon so they drop it. But then they might be able to use an ice spell to cool it down. So like the effects that an element might cause can have an opposite effect from a different element. But it's not just like fire is the opposite of water or something like that. Or there's no anti-fire element. Would also be a good way to say it. What is opposite to energy? Well, in some way matter, right? Like matter and energy are just like 2 different forms of stuff. You can't yeah, like it's like matter and energy have to be balanced out together. Matter's dividable in energy particles, or I would say it's like releasable. But sure, yeah, I mean that technically sure you're dividing it, yeah. Okay, this is philosophical and interesting, but not on topic. Well, maybe not. Maybe Dirk will get us there. But so let's keep thinking about this. We need to talk about the opinionated thing, right? So, the 4 non-traditional elements. Like, I don't know, they're like new. They're like the like they're new or they're foreign. They're not natively part of Nair, right? Like Nair has demigods and also all sorts of creatures like kami, like magical spirity force creatures, and it doesn't have traditionally in its long history, it doesn't have any from the 4 non-traditional elements. And I guess I should write them down. Let's do that. So the traditional ones are like fire, water, ice, wind, nature, corrosion, electricity. Let's use Eldritch. Oh my god, you're right. That's like what I've been and it like yeah. I need a better term for the traditional elements though. Something snappier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fuck, I'm still missing one. Okay, go through the gods. We had a earth is the it matched with the first fucking element. So we had a fire earth god. We had a water corrosion god. We had an electric ice god. Hey. And then a wind nature god. Okay. Great. So those are the like core. All right. Now core sounds rude because like these are they're the eldritch elements are like foreign, but it's not like they don't belong. They didn't happen to be in this place. But yeah, sure. Core elements is good. Yeah, main also seems a little bit off. They were the core forces that form the planet. Yeah, all right, okay. Yeah, in the same way they could be the main forces that form the planet. Yeah. All right. Just seems rude. I feel like we're hating on the eldritch elements. Okay, so the 4 eldritch elements are opinionated. They come from like beings outside of space and time who might, for a moment, take notice of the tiny ants crawling beneath them. The ants being all of civilization as we know it. But ooh, Dirk, that's a good point. Okay, yep, no, let me note that before we go into eldritch stuff. So the core elements can be used in multiple ways, right? A god can grant them. A god can grant abilities? Sure. A god can grant magical abilities. These are opinionated. So if you got power from like a fire god and you tried to do things that fire god didn't like, maybe you'd get away with it once or twice, but like eventually like you'd try to use your fire spells to like burn a bunch of orphans or something and you would not be able to do it. And then like maybe you'd find yourself lit on fire because the fire god finally noticed that you were doing some fucked up shit and he doesn't like it. Stop doing that. Let's do that. Yeah, Dirk, I think it could be either situation, right? It could be either situation. Just make the core elements sound more dumb and then it's fixed. Oh my god. So a god could grant magical abilities, or a god can grant knowledge to pursue abilities. So these are not opinionated, right? And then yeah, natural channeling. I think is a good way to describe natural channeling of spells using internal mana, chi, energy. These words will be interchangeable, but I do want to explore the idea that potentially classes in the game they'll use energy or magic in slightly different ways. Their like mana bar will work slightly differently depending on their internalized view of how magic works. And this is something that adepts can do. Right. You notice that people who do Minecraft data packs usually like math. Yeah. There's a lot of math nerds that like Minecraft. Minecraft is awesome. It just brings together everybody. It's fucking cool. Oh, yeah, okay, Dirk, that's an interesting point. That knowledge from a god could lead to, like, closed monastic structures. Like a religion about keeping this information in. I was thinking about like the god himself or herself or themself. I was thinking about the god directly giving somebody like information But like if you give someone information, they could definitely save it and pass it on, right? That's kind of the very clear difference between these two things. Okay. Ooh, okay. So that's an interesting thing to think about. I need to note that down in the cool idea zone. Monastic groups that protect magical knowledge from a god/gods. Cool. If you were to grow in the hierarchy, even to gain info from the god to be deemed good enough. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that could be a similar thing. Dang, also, where will I not block text? Okay, wait. You know what? We could... what's the best thing to do here? Take the browsers and we could kind of do that. That kind of works. All right, sure. Okay, so Dirk, you were saying like instead of the humans protecting the knowledge, it would be like as you grow in rank in the monastery, you might actually get to meet the god, who would then be like, okay, I can teach you how to do a fire spell. And yeah, it's a good point. If a god grants info in this way, you can't take it back. Yeah. So potentially, a god granting magical abilities would be much more common because they'd have much more control over them. And I think that's clear in the fact that we're saying they're opinionated. The source of magic is opinionated. And then if they grant you knowledge, getting the knowledge is opinionated. The god has to approve of it. Well, ideally, unless like I was initially thinking, he like writes it down on a scroll and is like, okay, buddy, like I'm giving you this, like, please don't teach other people how to like blow up people's brains. That probably would be bad, but like you need this info. For some reason, I've deemed it important enough to give it to you. But yeah, I like the idea better that like you would like train as like a fire monk, and after being a fire monk for like 5 years, they'd be like, okay, go fucking meet Kree, and she's gonna fucking teach you how to do a fire spell. All right. Yeah, it's a cool idea. Okay, and then of course the once you get the spell, you've got it. If you turn to the dark side and start doing fucked up things, they'd have to come hunt you down. They can't take the magic away from you though. Well, they could hit you on the head really hard and maybe you'd forget it. And that's something that I want to get at. I guess that actually maybe I should note that at the top of the tone that like magic. Oh no, we took the formatting. Magic is something you feel like emotions. It's like an emotion and no. So I think D&D does this. There are like wild sorcerers, and then there are like wizards. Wizards like go to school, they read books. Sorcerers are just like, God, I felt really mad one day and I just like thought about fucking lightning, and then like my dickbag neighbor got struck with lightning after I saw him being a piece of shit to his family for the millionth time, and I was just like, God, I would just love it if you'd fucking get struck by lightning. And then he did. Oops. And so I think what makes magic cool is it gets at like everybody's desire to like have the power to change things through our intentions. And I feel like humans are just addicted to that because like that's how you find things. That's how you figure out like, oh, this, like, if I hold this rock this way and smash it into this thing, like, wow, it like breaks a coconut open like really, really well. Wow, cool. That feels really good. I feel like magic is our imagination taking that feeling and going as far with it as possible. Like seeing a fire that we spent a bunch of time to make, being like, God, what if I could just fucking make that happen? What if I could just like think and there would be fire? Instead of like, I gotta do all this fucking work. I gotta collect kindling and do the little thing with like the rope where I spin the rope back and forth. I'm terribly describing one of the ways that like ancient people would make fire. Hold on. Obviously you could use a flint and tinder, but yeah, this thing. Hold on. Damn it. Here we go. Okay. All right, we're getting there. This weird thing. It's like a rope that you spin around, attached to a thing, and it builds up friction. And you can like light a little tiny thing on fire at the end of that, and then you take that little tiny thing lit on fire and you put it in your kindling, and then boom, you're good to go. Your kindling gets lit on fire. Crap, that's not what I wanted. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Oh no, I've ruined everything. Hold on. Extend it, and then now you hold Alt, and now you go like that. Okay, back to what is magic. Okay, so I think that's important, right? That like magic is something that you can feel, but it's also something that you can learn about. It's like your emotions can drive it, but so too can your knowledge and understanding of the world, of natural phenomenon, of magic itself. Like you can just study magic. You can like learn techniques from other people who have successfully done magic. But for the most part, its origin is like in emotion and tapping into this kind of force that is a mediator between what you want the world to be, what you imagine it to be, and what it is. And with enough intention and enough like training or practice, you can bring that into being. So if you're new to it, you might over or underperform, right? You might try to make a tiny spark and you might make a giant explosion. You might try to make a giant explosion and you can only make a tiny spark, because it's a force that you are interacting with through intuition, and you don't necessarily know how to do that. And academic training can help you do it better, but so too could just like walking out into the forest and meditating and connecting closer to nature and practicing, I don't know, a healing spell or something. You could imagine the world a way and then make it that way. And that comes at the cost of something. Either, I guess that's probably good to note as well. Magic comes at a cost. So you either have inner fuel, which we mentioned below, like mana, chi, energy, power, or an external fuel, like glass is the name of the like minerals that form, the crystallized minerals that form that have like magic energy trapped inside of them. In the story, metaphorically, this will be very similar to oil. It's a thing society runs on. If it ran out, we'd be screwed. Kind of a thing. So it can be inner fuel or external fuel, and maybe like glass, or like this is like weird, I guess, but the last thing is like a mix, right? Like, or a god's internal fuel. So like it could come, you summon a fireball, it could come from like the internal mana that's built within you, that's built up from your like memories of and connection to your homeland. And there's a finite amount of that like recharges over time. A great spellcaster would have more and more of this internal fuel built within them. Or you can use external fuel, perhaps to just supplement what you're doing. Use a little bit of internal, some external. Or in the case of getting your magic granted to you from a god, you might even be able to use their internal fuel. And honestly, maybe even external. You don't know necessarily where the fuel's coming from. Maybe a demon, you make a deal with a demon, and every time you cast an Eldritch Blast, I don't know, that some soul in hell is dying. Some crazy thing like that. I don't know. But either way, it's something that belongs to the god. The god is like channeling it to you, and you have no idea where it's coming from. So that's risky. I would recommend don't do that. But we got to do what we got to do. Okay. So now back to this. So we got Dirk's point about the difference between a god granting either the magic ability or granting knowledge. That's definitely good. You could naturally channel spells, or you could use fuel to channel spells. But you would still need like a scroll and or knowledge of magic, right? Like if you gave someone a magic stone and then a scroll that would teach them how to cast a fireball or a little spark. Let's say they're trying to start a fire for camping. Just reading that isn't necessarily enough. Not like D&D where you can just read a scroll. Most scrolls are not like that. Perhaps there could be a scroll that is like enchanted, so that like you read it and like a god enchanted the scroll to like actually impart knowledge to you in some kind of extra fantastical way. But you need experience or practice. You need experience or practice, like feeling for that thing. And maybe you could read this scroll, and after like a few hours, maybe you would finally manage a spark. Constantly doing what the scroll says to do. Like sitting down and calming yourself, and then trying to, like, I don't know, how would you call a spark? Like imagining flame and heat, focusing that on like a single point. Thinking about any memories you have of like hot days and the feeling of like an open fire, channeling those ideas into a single point in your mind, and then maybe eventually, boom, you make a little spark. Something like that. So it's not just as simple as get the scroll and some fuel. You also you need practical knowledge to reliably do it. So maybe you would need a scroll. How do I write this? Like, you still need knowledge. You still need knowledge even with a scroll. to guarantee success. Damn it. All right. Who needs the letter A? It's a useless letter. Okay. So then I think that's good enough to describe the different ways that the core elements can be used. And then the eldritch elements are going to be like a little bit weird. They're opinionated, but they come from distant, often disinterested beings. So, like when people think eldritch, I would imagine Cthulhu is the most famous eldritch creature. But like Cthulhu, I think, is a bad example because he's just like hanging out in Earth's ocean. He's right here. Most eldritch creatures are just like, well, the powerful ones, the like gods, are like just way the fuck out there in space. They're in a different like reality. They're outside of space and time. Like they're so far away. They're busy playing like 60 chess, trying to survive in 60 chess land, and we're stuck in one tiny corner of one of the chess boards playing checkers or something. So like they don't even notice us most of the time. So the thing is though that they still have, I guess let's like eldritch gods have inscrutable that's not how you spell inscrutable. How do you spell inscrutable? Able. Yeah. It'd be like inscrutable, confusing, seemingly like illogical goals and notions. Like you cannot perceive what these creatures are up to. And maybe the smartest person spending lots of time trying to figure out what an eldritch god might be up to, they might get a fraction of it correct. A small fraction. And if they got more than a small fraction of it correct, they'd probably go crazy. And I'm going to say mostly that these the four eldritch elements are opinionated, but mostly come from distant, disinterested beings. There will be times that the beings are interested. There will be times that they're not distant. Maybe for a brief moment, what our little anthill is doing becomes relevant to these unfathomably powerful creatures. But as time goes on, I want the player to potentially see that there are like mortal forces, like powerful mortal forces that can command these elements not connected to the gods, not connected to the eldritch gods specifically. But that is like you're going to see hints of that at the end of this game. And so then during the game, the player will never have access to these kinds of powers except in connection to the eldritch gods. And what that means is that anybody who uses them, including the player, there's like, like unintended consequences sometimes. And so let's see, how do I want to outline that? It's like sometimes you do Eldritch Blast, and And, you know, okay, most of the time you do Eldritch Blast, it just does what you expect. Like, that's fine. But then sometimes it, like, doesn't work. Sometimes it works really well. And if you understood the god who you were calling upon to use Eldritch Blast, you might understand why. You might get an inkling of why. You might start to realize what some of their motives might be, so that you might align yourself with those motives to have your spells be more powerful. You're back with food. Dang, I want some food. I want some fucking food. Ooh, you know what? This is not really related, but let's put Greg in the corner. Greg, what are you? You're a cat cam. Greg Cam. All right. A tomato omelet. I like omelets. I like tomatoes. That's probably pretty good. Okay, so the Eldritch gods have inscrutable, confusing, seemingly illogical goals and notions. Using a spell from an Eldritch element is powerful, but often has unintended consequences. It's sometimes good, sometimes bad. Whoop. Nope, gotta hit enter, gotta tab over. Okay. Let's see. Maybe unintended consequences, or a cost to pay, right? Maybe if you pay a cost, you can avoid the unintended consequences. You put thick slices of tomato in hot oil, covered pan, and then eggs on top. Fry under the lid, maybe some salt. Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds real good. I would probably throw some other veggies in there too. But, damn. Sounds great. Often has additional costs or unintended consequences. Yeah. Veggies. You're too lazy to defrost other veggies? Yeah, for sure. That is how a lot of my meals form as well. Okay. So is there any... Maybe... Is there any way... What are the ways? Let's say that. What are the ways that you might use Eldritch powers and they're not opinionated? You would have to be an incredibly advanced civilization. No currently known. No, why are you capitalizing things? Start the first one, that's fine. No currently known civilization can use Eldritch elements. Non-opinionated? Non-opinionated Eldritch elements, I think, is good. Advanced or aligned with the Eldritch paradigm. Well, so what I was thinking is that if the Eldritch creatures can do these things, then it wouldn't be impossible for some other being to also be able to do them as a separately. However the Eldritch creatures could do it, in theory, it should be possible that some other creature could do it, or some other civilization. But we just don't know that yet. I think that's a good viewpoint. So it's like it's not set in stone, and that's a good spot for the game, for the lore of the game as we go into future games to like breathe and grow. Channeling the void directly. Maybe. I was thinking more like you're channeling it with magic, but you're figuring out, like, most people borrow magic from the Eldritch gods, but like you're figuring out where they get their magic from. You're becoming your own Eldritch god, I guess. And then that would be very hard to it's going to be very hard to actually make part of the story. I think it would have to just, if it ever shows up, it's going to have to be something on the edges of the story where you just get little pieces of it. Because the whole idea with these powers is like, you can't comprehend them. You just can't understand. It looks complicated yet structured now. Yeah. Hopefully that's good enough. I don't know. I think we're all right. So I think this is good enough to then move past tone. We have an idea for like the tone of these things. And then that means I've got to, what did I do? Whoop, and then swoop, and then, okay. So then we're back to this. I gotta be over here. I hate being over here. I like, when I'm over here, it's like I'm looking at the thing. When I'm over here, I'm just like staring at the corner. Boo. Okay. Shit, so we already kind of talked about this, but that's okay. It was kind of hard to talk about tone without talking about the cost of things. Cost. The second factor is one that speaks to the cost of magic use. For some, it is essential that magic have a cost, that there be trade-offs made for power. They might be literal or symbolic, but when they're present, then the subtext is usually that power has a price. Contrast that with magic having some risk associated with it. As with price, this puts a natural limiter on the use of magic, but it speaks to a very different set of priorities, especially if magic is easy to come by. It might be blatant, such as spells having a risk of blowing up in your face, or it might be subtle, a steadily accruing toxicity. But it makes each choice to use magic a conscious one. As an aside, cost works well with flavored or opinionated magic. Risks work better with neutral or opinionated magic, where risk is attention from the beings with opinions. Sure. No cost is a curious option, and one to not take too literally. There's usually some cost, even if it's the price of a pointy hat and the opportunity cost of studying magic rather than getting that MBA. Oh my god, that's cute. These are familiar, mundane costs. That's why this approach works best with highly regimented neutral magic. It lines up well with magic as science. It lines up well with magic as science thinking or very concrete lists of spells or effects. Or rules for things like cyberware, which are basically differently skinned magic systems. Whatever the case, if there is neither cost nor risk, there is usually some other limiting factor at work, even if magic is fairly ubiquitous, such as limits to the type of magic a given person may use. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about cost, but I do feel like I should jump back and note, for the Eldritch elements, we should definitely note that, like, pursuing Eldritch knowledge can lead to death or insanity. Right? This is like that situation that, like, you're either going to get the attention of some evil deity, or you're going to try to control some magical space beast and you're going to fail at it, and then, like, he's going to eat you. God, or you might try to, like, control an Eldritch god and they're going to be like, dude, what? And then just murder you. Or more likely they'll, like, drive you insane or turn you into, like, a puppet or something. And you also might go insane simply This is an idea from H.P. Lovecraft, from Lovecraftian lore. Simply understanding the truth of the universe, the vast complexity of it, your smallness, the craziness of having like incredibly powerful beings like behind the scenes doing whatever the hell they're doing. Just glimpses into their activities might, make you just lose grip. And we did already talk about costs of magic, the core elements, but kind of also want to note, like you could, if you were out of energy, you could still cast a spell, but it might kill you, right? Like, casting spells without fuel / energy can kill you. I think that's an important thing. It's like if you're out of mana, or if you're down to very little mana, so much so that it feels like you have none, and you keep casting spells, like that's a way that you can die. You can like die from exhaustion. Okay, so now back to magic. So the risk is interesting. I kind of feel like their example of risk, a steadily accruing toxicity, sounds less like a risk and more like a cost to me. Like, if you're rolling a d6 and something might happen, that's a risk. If you're rolling a d6 billions of times, then eventually the thing happens at a very predictable number of times, right? If you repeat a random event enough, then it starts to have this very predictable kind of outcome. The larger your sample size is. I feel like that's just more of a cost rather than a risk. I kind of want to explore that idea for a second. Do I want there to be great risks associated with the core elements? Certainly there's great risk associated with powerful eldritch spells. And maybe that's a good thing to note. Powerful spells have great risks. Even death. Right? So it isn't just necessarily if you pursue knowledge. You might get enough knowledge to cast a very powerful spell, but like continually casting that spell, powerful is 1L, like you might die or go insane. If you keep doing it, it might not be a good idea. Maybe even worse than death. Yeah, sure. I guess like that's kind of what, ooh, sure. Transformation's a cool idea. Also, certainly a chance that like a god might just take over, an eldritch god might just control you and turn you into a fucking puppet. Being the prisoner of your ever-living body. Jesus Christ, that sounds Lovecraftian. Sounds horrible. So I think maybe there would be a risk with core elements, but only if you're pushing beyond your comfort zone, right? And that might be a good way to improve quickly, but it might be dangerous depending on the element that you are that you're doing it with. Pathfinder Occult Adventures told you well. Ooh, I've always wanted to play a Pathfinder game. Occult Adventures, cool. Cool. I really like how like H.P. Lovecraft has just like like Lovecraftian horror has just kind of like snuck its way in to like every fucking fantasy thing. Like D&D has so much stuff in it that's just like, yeah, bro, that like that's yeah, that's Lovecraftian horror. You just fucking took those ideas. But hell yeah, make the world richer for it. And in case people don't know, Lovecraft liked that idea. He was a weird racist piece of shit, but he had some cool ideas. Part of the idea for Lovecraftian horror was like communicating with other authors and everybody's building a world together, that they're like respecting each other's work and building off of it. It's a really cool idea to have an author who wants that. I think it's a cool way to build something bigger than yourself, and like clearly he did. There's a whole supplement for it. Cool. Damn. I wish they would make like a cool like video game. Honestly, it'd be sweet if tomorrow a Pathfinder Occult Adventures like deck building single player card game came out. That would be great. That would be fucking awesome. Everybody building a horror together. Yeah, it's really cool. It's cool because it's like you're obviously collaborating is just cool, but the idea of like exploring what is like terrifying to humans as a group of people, like you're all adding, it's like you're all making a meal together, but instead of food, instead of ingredients, you're like adding your existential horror into the pot of what makes you're adding in your terrible fears to it's cool. It's fucking cool. You think horror lets you touch the fundaments of self-imposed illusions that we live in? Ooh. Yeah, certainly to an extent. It's like, I don't know. God, I watched a thing last night. What's her name? Philosophy Tube. There's a YouTuber named Philosophy Tube. She's pretty cool. And her most recent video is about death and about how in a large way, like society insulates you from death. And that is a privilege, but also a problem because like we all have to fucking die someday. So it's probably good to be in touch with understanding that and understand what death is actually like, all the different ways that it can happen and what it means. Shit. Okay, so back on topic. We need to note that there is a cost. Her actual name's Abigail Thorne, right? Sure, yeah. But like, if you needed to find her, if you were like, I would watch that, her YouTube channel is Philosophy Tube. She's a bit dramatic, but I think she does a great job presenting things and also has some great jokes. She was like, I don't expect to die anytime soon because I'm in pretty good health and I don't know anything about Boeing. It's fucking great. Good. Just like deadpan. You're in the middle of learning and then like boom, you get hit by a zinger. It's fucking sweet. Okay, so the specific thing is that casting spells beyond your understanding / skill can result in maybe like misfires. Maybe just like dangerous consequences. Maybe maybe like, sure, backfire, misfire, catastrophe. And God, actually, maybe failure. Sure. Backfire, failure, catastrophe. Like, if you try to cast a spell you don't have the skills to cast, far beyond your level. It might just blow up in your face. It might just not happen. Or like you might blow up the whole town. Oopsie-doo. Sorry about that. You maybe you would kill yourself because you didn't have the energy to cast it, but you still tried to do it. So you know. Teamworm's in danger. Hi, Teamworm. Are you trying to cast spells beyond your skill level? Also, aren't artifice on the list of magic use? You mean aren't like artificers, or would artifacts be on the list of magic use? Ooh. Oh, because you had a 2-hour meeting with Boeing today, dude. That's got to be scary, man. I guess you're making stuff for them, right? You're not getting things from them. You're not gonna like go ride around in their airplanes to test them out, right? They're like buying stuff from you. So, you know, fuck. Right. I got it. I got there, Crazy Pants. With Worm's help, I got there. I'm fucking also fuck. Still feels real weird to call Team Worm. I'm gonna go back to Team Worm. Artifice as an art. Oh my god, 2 hours of boning. Was there enough asterisks for Boeing? I guess boning and Boeing have the same number of asterisks. All right, okay. Good joke, Dirk. So I was thinking if you were an artificer, you would be using magic crystals potentially to make your artifacts. So shit, in that way, I guess if you like misused fuel. Damn. Okay. So do we note that as part of magic? Yeah, I guess so. We're kind of in a risk area down here. Using crystals to make artifacts can also be dangerous. But then that seems like obvious, right? Like if it's like working with oil. If you're making a car that runs on gasoline and like your engine doesn't work right, like it could explode. Same thing with using magic crystals. Fundamentally, artifice is different from channeling because there's a possibility of automation. I think not just a possibility, but it's like the goal, right? If I made you a magic artifact, you would expect it like to work, right? If I had an artifact and I was like, yeah, this magic ring can like decontaminate water, or this magic ring can just start a fire, like you would expect it to just do that. Otherwise, if you were a wizard, you'd be like, yeah, I could just do that on my own. It's a prosthesis of channeling. Yeah, sure. Yeah. The goal would be to replace the need to channel. Or even to supplement it, potentially. But generally, the idea would be to, like, replace it. Yeah. Shit. Okay, so also this is lame, but I think I actually need to end the stream here because my stupid stomach hurts. It was really bad last weekend, and the annoying thing about when my stomach hurts is I can't sit up straight without it hurting. And that means I can't get to my keyboard. So go rest. Dude, it's so lame. Like I'm not tired. I'm like, I just can't fucking sit up. It's so dumb. I fucking hate it. It's so useless. So yeah, I do apologize. I think we're gonna end here. I will be back tomorrow and we'll keep going on this. And then once we're done with this, we're gonna start designing the initial starting region. We're gonna figure out the conflicts and things. I'll probably go like lay down and make some notes to figure out what I want to do. So yeah, shit. I don't know. I'm useful. Thank you, Dirk. We did great today. Yeah, we did all right. Thank you as well for hanging out. And also, people lurking, thank you for hanging out. Apologies for ending early. I will be back tomorrow. Have a nice day and take care of yourselves, as I will try to do.